I call this meeting of the South Deccan Board of Education together at 6:30. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Secretary, would you call the
Yes. Anthony Johnson.
Here.
Lori Hicks.
Present.
Amanda Flesher.
Present.
Cheryl Flesher.
Present.
Misha Early.
President?
Daniel Winston. Present. And Shirley Tolliver.
Present. Next item on the agenda is the approval of agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda? There are none. Agenda will be as written. Next item on the agenda is Superintendent Communications. Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. Congratulations are in order this evening to Mr. Jason Williams, also known as Coach from Vandenberg Elementary School, who wears many hats over at Vandenberg. And he is being recognized as being the April Staff Member of the Month over at Vandenberg for his ongoing care, patience, and dedication day in and day out in his listening to the needs of our Vandenberg Elementary School students, particularly in how he supports students in regulating their emotions and navigating conflict resolution skills and helping our students to grow from those experiences that he provides day in and day out over at Vandenberg Elementary School. Also, special thanks are in order to the career technical education students as well as our CTE programs, especially to Beth Harris, who hosted members of the RISA Board of Education along with RISA cabinet members in touring our CTE programming over at the Brian Galdis Innovation Center, which also included a delicious lunch provided by our hospitality tourism students, thanks to the students of that program, as well as Chef Tony and Chef Leo. So it's always nice to showcase our students and program offerings to our fellow colleagues over at Wayne County RISA. And then also congratulations are in order to the number of student performers from the Thurston High School Drama Club, as well as elementary school students across the district as they put on incredible performances of Shrek the musical. Special thanks to the students that were kind enough to share their talents with our community over the past several days. And also many thanks are in order to Patty Denton, Tim Shaner, Austin Chasnick, Jennifer Franklin, as well as Nathan Morgan. And so truly the talents of our students and staff were on full display in the musical performances of Shrek. And so I know a number of board members had an opportunity to check it out, and very proud of the incredible performances that our students and staff were kind enough to provide to the community. So hats off to them. And that concludes my remarks this evening, Madam President.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is board communications. Are there any?
To the chair.
Yes?
I had one suggestion that I thought of literally yesterday from our last board meeting. We had Student Council President Nick Hobson reporting back to us, and he had to wait through the entire meeting last time. So I was thinking if it was okay with the board and the cabinet and student council, if they could regularly come in and do reports, they could be part of the agenda like Soropa and SRF.
Okay.
If it worked with their schedule, because I really liked hearing from the students, and they presented to us before as well too.
And that's a wonderful suggestion, and we do provide that offering to the students that are looking to provide reports to the Board of Education. So wonderful suggestion. I just know that with the scheduling, it didn't work out the last go round, but that is something that we regularly provide, and will continue to provide that opportunity also moving forward. So thank you for lifting that component.
Thank you for that. Any other communications from the board? Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a board member willing to adopt the
Comes from
consent?
the audience.
Comments.
Comes from the audience.
Oh, yes, okay, thank you.
There are none.
I can think you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a board member willing to adopt the consent agenda?
To the chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Do I have a support?
Support.
It's been adopted by Mrs. Fletcher and supported by Mrs. Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? 7 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda is the reports from Soroka.
Yep.
Oh,
Hi there, how are you?
hi, I'm good, how are you?
Okay,
Alright, there's a lot. And there's one on my phone, so I'm not on my phone, but I am.
okay.
Alright, so from Fisher, Princess Scott, the second and third graders created acrostic poems that are displayed in the hallways. Miss Gables and Miss McBroom's classes are drafting their crash out poetry, which is modern day slam poetry. These will be presented during the Friday gathering. The LLC is a happy place at Fisher, and our students are enjoying dynamic seating options and the projector feature during lessons in that space. Alyssa Zarelli at Jefferson said testing has been going well at Jefferson and our CrossCat students have been rocking it. And also Poetry Month is going well. This week she is teaching the 3rd through 5th graders about blackout poetry, and next week will be Poe. Betsy Lepak at Vandenberg in the Media Center said MSTEP testing is in full swing. During checkouts, we've been exploring poetry for National Poetry Month. I'm still working on library tasks like cataloging, genre find, labeling related to the recovery project, genre signage similar to what Adams has been ordered. Erica Wilson at Vandenberg in the office says, in addition to the office's normal business this month, we added puddles, allergies, and the Tigers game to the mix. I made approximately 10 calls home this month about changes of clothing because students fell in puddles, ran into puddles, and did not see puddles. Students can't stay away from the puddles. All roads lead me calling home for changes of clothes due to puddles. With the arrival of the beautiful spring weather, the office has seen an increase in allergy cases. I don't believe I've ever made the number of calls home that I've made this month about watery eyes, pink eyes, and sneezing. I made approximately 12 calls home. Grades 2 through 5 went to the Tigers game Thursday. 264 staff, students, and chaperones attended the game. The game was a hit. The office fielded numerous calls this month about volunteer registrations, background checks needed for parents to attend the trip, the time the bus was leaving, and the time the bus was returning. At Pierce, Sherry Wilson said the varsity esports team made it to the state championships for Mario Kart that was held at Oakland University on April 25th. The cheer team won first place in the Detroit PAL League varsity stunting division and first place in the J cheer competition. The dance team won second place in the J cheer competition and the hip hop category. Pierce is proud to announce that we've added baseball to our sports team roster. Yay. Our 8th grade promotion and honor ceremony will be held on June 4th at Thurston. And a special thanks to our test coordinator, Barbara Wilson, as we wrap up MSTEP and PSAT testing this week. Danielle Dunn in the AP office at Thurston said AP exams begin Monday, May 4th and end May 15th. We have a total of 197 students enrolled in AP classes with 289 exams ordered. That's a lot. Liz Muzzin in the front office said, at Thurston, said spring testing took place on April 14th to April 15th and the week of April 20th and went off without a hitch. Special thanks to our testing coordinators, Erin Ferris, Laura Bala, and Jen Day for helping us execute a smooth testing season. The spring musical Shrek was this past weekend. Congratulations to the cast and crew on an excellent show. Thank you Patty Denton, Tim Shaner, Jen Day, and Jennifer Franklin for your commitment to the Thurston Drama Program and your selfless leadership and guidance in the production of this show.
The first annual Thurston Talent Show will take place on May 6th at 6 p.m. in the auditorium. Thurston Choir has an upcoming concert on May 12th at 7 p.m. Thurston Band has their spring concert on May 19th at 7 p.m. And it is senior season, and there are a lot of upcoming events to celebrate the class of 2026. Honors Dinner is May 14th at 5:30 at Western Golf Course, and you're all invited. Senior Prom is May 22nd, also at Western. Senior Awards Night is May 28th, and we would love to invite you to join as we celebrate our award winners in the auditorium. Graduation will be held on June 3rd at USA Hockey Arena. Student Services, Sue Hunter, said, "I've been very happy to have Sandra McCline working with me for several days over the last month. Her training on the transportation piece for McKinney-Vento students, which runs out of my office. Sandra will eventually take this over, which will be a huge help to her." Central Office, Angie Naylor, put, "On behalf of the enrollment team, families are eagerly enrolling into the South Redford School District. Angela is the enrollment coordinator for K-12 in district enrollments and the GSRP program. Effective February 2026, the SOAR team was assigned to coordinators for processing all school of choice enrollments, K through 12. This was a great decision to foster a team effort in reviewing and processing enrollments." Her district also has a new administrative assistant, Sandra McCline, I guess I should have read this one first, who will assist with enrollment as well as other departments in the district. The enrollment team appreciates the support of the cabinet and board as we continue to provide the best services for our families and welcome new families into the district. And lastly, from Jefferson, myself, last week, our 2nd through 5th graders also went on the field trip to the Tigers game. Thursday's game against the Brewers and the Detroit boys pulled out a 5-4 win. Thank goodness, because they almost lost it. The office has been busy as usual, and we're gearing up for the end of the year craziness, ordering inventory and all of the end of the year festivities. We have coming up the Dairy Whip Walk, the teachers versus 5th grade kickball game, field day, and the end of the year ceremony. And lastly, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. Lastly, on a personal note, last week was Secretary's Day, and my building truly went above and beyond. The gifts, words of kindness, and of course all the cards from all my kids were delivered throughout the day really touched my heart. It was the most appreciated I've ever felt on this day, and I just want to recognize Kyla and all of my staff for making that happen, and I really appreciate it very much. And that is all I have for you.
Thank you so much. Next item is South Redford Foundation.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see everyone tonight. Thank you for having us. And to those who don't know who I am, my name is Kathy Rose, President of South Redford Foundation. I am so pleased to report our community connections are growing. We have connected with 3042 Foundation, and the founder of that foundation is Mr. Terry. We welcomed him to our team as he will be our fundraising committee with Rick Bennett. Rick Bennett will chair it. Mr. Terry will assist him in the fundraising of that and other things. He don't know what check, but so we welcome him. Then tomorrow we will be hosting our Champions Appreciation Dinner brunch, I should say, in 3 sessions. Everyone is more than welcome to attend that brunch if you like. Let's see, let's move right on here. I'm trying to move on. Also, our poker tournament begins May 5th through May 8th. We are short of help, so if anybody is free any of those days, we run from 11 to 6 p.m. We also do it in 2 sessions. We do from 11:30 from 11 to 2:30, and then from 2:30 to 6, if anyone is interested. If not, it'll just be Rick and I for those days all day, which is okay because it is my great pleasure, because it helps us to fund our scholarships, which I'm going to go into next. We have 24 scholarship applicants this year. And although that is good, I'm a little, how can I say it? I'm not easy with the amount, considering the amount of students that we have. So that tells me that we need to be a little bit more known with the foundation giving the scholarships, because I was looking for my numbers for the applications to be a little bit larger, but we'll take 24, that's fine. And we'll be deciding that tomorrow as well. And that would be 6 out of those 24 $1,000 scholarships that would be there. We will also combine with Alumni Association for the scholarships. The alumni president will not be available that evening, so I will be presenting for the Alumni Association and also the foundation. Any questions so far for me at this point? Oh, that's so great. Good. Last but not least, see, I had to take notes because my life is real busy right now. As it was already reported, the cheer team has really kept me busy. But that's not about the foundation, okay. Anyhow, so that will conclude the foundation report for tonight. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Any of you are welcome to the brunch if you would like to come. And with that, I will take this. Thank you for having us.
Next item on the agenda is discuss district facility rentals. The board will discuss the rentals.
I have a question.
Yes.
We were supposed to get a printout of what our fees are versus our costs. And I have not seen that from our last session.
Didn't you get that?
So I know that the board has had a considerable amount of dialogue on this very topic over the past several years for quite some time. At the board meeting on September 22nd, 2025, the board also discussed the same topic, and the board had requested, as trustee Hicks is lifting, that I provide some additional information to the board. That information was provided to the board back in January about what it would cost to upkeep and maintain the track and field space, coupled with some of the analysis from one of the companies that has done some site improvements for the district over the years. And so the board has had that information for quite some time. We can certainly provide that to the board again. But that information was in there, for the board to review at its discretion. We can certainly provide that to the board again, if that would be
Yes,
of assistance.
I don't know if I wasn't at that meeting.
Sure.
And I don't recall seeing it, so.
No problem. And in there, it had the upkeep, the maintenance, the insurance pieces. So yeah, we can certainly provide that. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And so I know at that meeting there, back in September, there seemed to be some general consensus amongst the board to possibly consider, when it comes to the track and field space, there seemed to be general consensus about, at that particular board meeting, about potentially looking at a future resolution to move it back into operations, given that right now the track and field are not available for outside rentals. And so the board had substantive conversation at that point in time, as well as a couple of other meetings along the way as well on the particular topic. And so, be happy to provide that additional information to the board for it to continue to review. And I'm not sure what the consensus may be of the board on this particular topic this evening. But it does continue to come back to the board. So if the board is looking to resolve to do something different, then it would be my encouragement to the board for it to continue its dialogue on this topic. And if not, while it's certainly important, it's not one of the critical functions of the board or of the district. So I would, encourage the board to either continue to have its dialogue and then resolve to consider a possible change, or to not periodically revisit it unless it's on a semi-annual basis.
Chair?
Yes.
So, as far as we know, Rafferty Lee is the only one that rents after we waive them every year.
Correct.
And they've been the only people to rent. We haven't
Correct.
had any other inquiries about renting the track and field?
Correct.
So that's what you're saying, like the semi-annual waiver of them specifically,
Or of the topic in general.
of the topic in general?
Yes, and so that was the last context that the board had, is what Vice President Hurley is sharing here, is that rather than continuing to do an annual waiver, there seemed to be a general consensus, at least on that evening, to either, have it be all or nothing, or continue to have it the way that it is with the waiver. So that would be an option too, is to look at a waiver, on a semi-annual basis, or I'm just saying also on said topic. But for the board to continue to dialogue on it off and on, without resolving to do anything differently. Again, I think it's either something for the board to look to make a modification, or to simply leave it as is. But that would certainly be at the will of the board.
Personally, I would like to make a modification. We're still moving into the realm of operations with this every year, denying or approving a waiver altogether. Since they've been the only ones rented for I don't know how long, you know what I mean? I think that we had all agreed that they were to be waived. I don't know why we have to do this every year. I don't think that we have to at all, to tell you the truth.
And that seemed to be the consensus of the board when we most recently spoke about it, what we just shared.
To the chair.
Yes.
I'm sorry I brought this up 6 years ago at this point. My goodness. When I brought this topic of facilities to the board, when I first came on the board, I didn't think it was going to be a 5.5-year process of talking about facility rentals. And we're stuck on this hamster wheel of renting space, which is just outside of the realm of what the board should be doing. We're not in operations. Who rents the space is not our responsibility on any level. And so if nothing else, I get that we may have to deal with the fees and things like that, but can we get out of the realm of saying who can and can't rent spaces? Because that's not our responsibility. That's all I want. I mean, I get the other part, but, come here every year and saying, yay or nay on if Rafferty Lee can use spaces, it's like, I feel like that's not my job as a board member. So, should we let the operational stuff stay on that side of the street and we deal with the policies and things that we should be dealing with? That's what I would hope for us to be doing going forward.
To the chair?
Yes.
At the same point, I understand what you're saying, which is why we're trying to get to a place where we can finally make that decision. But oversight and budget is our responsibility.
I agree.
So, yeah, it has to do with both.
I didn't use any of those words. I said who uses the space. That's what I said. I understand we do
I
budget.
don't necessarily think it's about who's using the space.
When we say who can get a waiver, maybe it is about who can use the space. That's literally we're saying
Well,
that,
that could very well be operational.
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm concerned that we're coming here and continue to talk about giving waivers to people. That's not our responsibility as a board.
No,
The
I
budget
agree,
stuff
but the
is-
budget stuff is.
Oh, yeah, all day.
Okay.
I agree with that part.
So we still have to figure out if we're gonna rent it to anybody, what those fees would be.
That's the other side of the street once again. How much it costs is, I get that, but who can rent and cannot rent is not what we should be doing. And that's the part that I think we've been spinning our wheels on way too long, given the authority of who can use the space. That's not our responsibility. Fees and stuff, I agree 100%.
Okay.
Yes, if I recall, we did do the fees, didn't we?
Not when it comes to our football stadium and stuff. We did everything else for any other thing that we rent.
But they rent, right?
Hmm?
They rent the space though.
They have been grandfathered in per the
Right.
superintendent's decision, 20-year fees, 20-year-old fees. And I know the question from the board was, what does it cost now to maintain it? To make sure that if the board chooses to rent it, you know, that the cost is covered. And that's our budgetary responsibility.
But, okay, but I was under the impression that we did do a whole thing on the rental.
Not on the football. The board split it and we chose to close the field. That's why we're in this loop of waivers, as Daniel talks about.
Okay, all right.
We've got fees set and everything was updated for every other, you know, our gyms and everything else, but not the football field because the board voted 3 years ago to close the field down.
Okay.
And yes, Redford Elite is the only one rental, but we haven't promoted it to anybody else or never, you know, offered it really up publicly that it is available to rent. So it's two sides.
To the chair.
Yes.
So I propose that we don't rent to anybody but Redford Elite, since they're the only people that we've been renting to for over 2 decades. That will end that part of the situation, correct?
Well, if somebody else came and wanted to, and we say that we can only rent to them, that doesn't seem fair either.
Right, you're opening up a legal,
It's either all or none.
yeah. You can't pick and
Well,
choose, it's everybody or
Yes.
But
nobody.
the fees right now are not all or none, so I'm not
There were
understanding that
staggered
part.
fees before.
But not for the football field.
No, and then we canceled all that out, and Jason decided we grandfather in, and it's fees that are 20 years old. The process was not completed to figure out what the fees would be, and the board needs to do that, and if we do that, then we need to decide, it's all or nothing. We open it up, and it's listed as it's available for anybody,
Or not.
or none. And then that stops the waiver. Or we continue, like Jason suggested, you can semi-annually or annually continue with the waiver until you find some solution.
Or we can remove the waiver from our hands and put it into the hands of operation. Right.
Well, we have a policy that says we're not,
Or we
Running
can
it.
remove the waiver and put it into the hands
you'd have to change
of
policy
operation.
and go through that
Okay, but how does
process.
it make our team?
Put it in our team.
That's what you said.
To the chair.
Yes.
It is South Redford's organization.
And it's only South Redford students?
You know, it's open to other students surrounding our community. But the majority, 80+% of the kids that play in the organization, as long as the cheerleaders, are residents or kids that go to our schools. Because the only flyers that went out for registrations is at South Redford schools. No other outside communities. So they might hear this word of mouth, but the majority of the children over the last 20 years have been South Redford schools, period. And there's no different than us having open enrollment for elementary schools, but the majority of the kids here live in Redford. But 48239 also goes into Detroit. And we have buses that go to Detroit and pick up kids that go to South Redford schools. And their addresses is Detroit addresses with the 48239. So we kind of playing with apples and oranges here, based on the name, based on the kids. Stop worrying about the name of the organization and worry about the children.
That's what I was
Because
asking.
all these children, and it's proven that, and the criteria is probably 60 to 70%, maybe. It's way more than that of children that go, that play for this organization. That's been in existence, because at first it was the Redford Rangers,
I remember.
and there was no problem then. They went to the Eagles, they went to the Elite. Same kids, same schools, same, pretty much the same coaches. Same, just a name.
Okay, my next question would be, is the Redford Elite a 501(c)(3)?
Already in the books. We carry Redford Rangers, Eagles, and Elite under the same demographics. All registered with the state, all nonprofit, given to the district proof that they are nonprofit. Everybody in this organization, no one gets paid. Every dollar that comes into here is accounted for by our treasurer, and every dime, nickel, penny goes directly to those kids. Every cent.
I hear you. I know what cents are.
So, the thing is, even back then, some 20 odd years ago, there was only one team, organization that attempted to rent the football field. And they weren't allowed to use all facilities, and they tore it up. They lasted maybe 1 year. That was in the early to mid-2000s. No one else rents this facility or attempted to rent the facilities when it was open for everyone, but that organization. So, like Daniel said, as a board, it's about these children. We spinning wheels, we running on the hamster wheel, like he said. It's not our job. Put all this stuff back in operations where it belongs and leave it alone. We create the funds for it, how much we gonna do this, how much we gonna do that. Because if it wasn't, since they were grandfathered in, they're not paying the same thing that they were paying 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Not paying the same, they're paying more. So where did the tiers come from? If that wasn't decided, some shape, form, or fashion, how much they should pay. Because there's a price that they pay when they come over here and fill out the paperwork to get it. And everything has to be presented, the nonprofit, which is the same, they still had it on file, and insurance. They have it, and they present it every year.
But our question originally was, what does it cost us to keep the insurance and everything in file so that we know that we're not,
So
that the,
I pulled up what we got, Lori, so I was looking at it. This company said it would cost $7,000 a year for one visit for a maintenance program. So $7,000 if they came on 1 year and they would do inspection, repair, grooming, metal collecting, so on and so forth. So it'll cost $7,000 for this company that we got to come out. So say $7,000 to do the maintenance if they came out once a year. If they came out twice, 14, whatever that looks like. So $7,000.
Okay, to do the maintenance, what about the cost of insurance?
Anybody that rents the field
Yes.
has to have
Own
their
insurance.
own
Right.
insurance.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
However, the district does also have an insurance policy
Yep.
that insures the space. And so, to insure our field and stadium is approximately $20,000 a year that we pay regardless. And then, yes, each individual renting agency also is required to produce accurate proof of insurance.
Yeah, that's right. And that was the fee that that was asked of Mr. Bob, and that's what he gave. That's what he found out when we did that back in January.
Okay.
Now you have to calculate the football team, JV and varsity. They practice every day and they have 4 to 5 home games. Track practice there every day. It's supposed to be open to the public because it's public funded. And these little kids from the Redford Elite play 4 games there.
Okay.
That's it. And there's no way that those little kids do damage to the field, because you can talk with athletic director, you can talk with anybody that comes out to see the program, and when it's going on, there is none of that going on, that they would even remotely. And then what they pay for playing 4 games there almost covers the cost of that $7,000, which, if you want to look at it that way, why would you charge a nonprofit organization that feeds these kids into our program, into our athletic program, which you would almost what it costs to keep the field up totally a year? Since we're a board that's about the children. But the tier part that was being said is outdated was just created a few years ago.
No, it wasn't. It was not.
Please don't interrupt.
It was not, no.
Please
Do I
don't
need to
interrupt.
call a point of order? Because he's been allowed to talk for 20 minutes.
I've been talking for 20 minutes, and we've been dialoguing over.
Well, I
years.
don't agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
You
when
keep
when
saying
I-
things
when
word
I
of
finish-
mouth,
when
you
I
have no
finish-
proof,
when
no
I finish-
data, no
When I
anything.
finish speaking.
And you were not
Then you
here.
can say something. I said and let
Just
everyone
a
speak
minute.
before I spoke.
You did not let everyone speak before you spoke, and I don't even think you should be speaking from the table. Honestly, I think it's a conflict of interest.
We've already discussed that, and it's not.
Really? Do we need to call up the attorney and get her here again?
It's
Don't start
not a
this all over
conflict
again.
of interest.
Really? Did you read what the attorney said? Because I don't think you did.
Point of order.
Yes.
You need to stop. Amanda,
Yes.
stop. I mean, stop, period, this whole
Yes,
board.
I don't know what we're supposed to be discussing, honestly. This is a very broad topic on here. There's nothing on here about a certain organization, nothing on here about waivers. It literally just says discussion regarding rentals.
Right,
And every single person has a different topic they're going off on.
To the chair.
yes.
So
I call point of order, we end it now. And we can carry it over and pick this discussion up at a later time.
Do we end or can we carry it?
I think that what we need to do, it's gonna be up to the board. Does the board want to continue, or does the board want to continue to discuss? Or does the board want to stop?
For tonight?
Yes,
Stop.
okay.
Continue. I think you need to define what it is we're discussing, honestly.
What we
It
were
can't
discussing.
just be a broad free-for-all.
Okay,
I want to
excuse
continue
me.
discussing the facility rentals as written on here, which is broad, which means we can
Yes,
talk about.
Extremely broad, and
Which
it's the
means we
same
can talk about all of it.
conversation every single year. Because you're not focusing on one topic.
We are focusing on the discussion of the facilities rental. Every year, for the last, 2 or 3 years, we've been having a waiver So we were just discussing that. We weren't considering anything.
There's nothing on here about a waiver though. It just says facilities rentals. That's it.
Point of order, she is absolutely right. We have to stick to how it was posted.
Okay.
There's
To the chair, it
nothing
says
on here about
facilities
that.
rentals, which means it's not pinpointing anything. So we can
Exactly.
discuss
That's the
facilities
problem.
rentals, right?
So we could sit here and talk about
that
anything
what it
all
means?
night long because there's
We
nothing
can.
specifically
We can
listed.
talk about the rental.
But it doesn't say anything about a waiver,
It says facilities rentals.
not a waiver.
Is
That's
the
different.
waiver part of the facilities rentals?
That's different.
Is that part of the facilities rentals?
I would say no,
Does anybody
because
have an answer to
last
that?
I knew the board voted to close that
It's
facility.
two separate issues.
So the waiver was
Okay.
separate.
Is that
All
part of
right,
it?
Point
okay.
of order, I'll say it for the third time. Point of order. This agenda item does not say we will be
Okay, you wanna know
discussing
something?
waivers.
This is what we're going to do on the next, we are going to, on the next facility, we're gonna talk about the waiver.
Can we continue talking about the rentals? 'Cause I
Yes,
have
you
something
may.
else to say.
Go ahead,
Thank
say
you.
what you have to say.
So the facilities rentals, since we're not talking about the waiver, right? We're talking about the facility rentals and the tier of the rentals. That's what I want to say that. Facilities rentals is what the title says, that's what I'm talking about, just to be clear. Now, AJ posed a great question when it says, we have a rule in there saying that 61%, 51%, however many percent of whatever non-profit organization is renting has to be South Redford kids, correct? Am I still in the realm of facilities rentals, right?
Yes.
But our district is open fivefold. SOAR, ESP, CTE, EDGE, we're open, preschool, right? We're an open district now. So now that I know that when we talked about the facilities rental, we weren't then. But I'm just saying, maybe it's time that we talk about that again. Everybody's so afraid of changing policy around here. Sometimes we need to look at it every now and then. Sometimes more now than then, than some of these. My suggestion. Maybe we need to revamp and look at all of it.
To the chair, can I actually speak now, please?
Yes,
Since we're not really taking turns and the same people get to talk over and over again.
we are taking,
Excuse you, Mr. Johnson. Excuse you for laughing because other people have an opinion. Anyway, what I was going to point out to the board, if I had been given a chance, was that the tiered groups were in effect before the committee was even formed. They were found on the website. They were carried over when the committee voted. So it's a blatant lie to sit there and say the committee created the tiers. If there's an
The
issue,
change of the tiers, we did.
we didn't do anything
We
to
didn't
them.
change the fees.
Misha,
and
you
we
were on the
changed all of
committee.
that.
If you don't remember it,
I
you can bring up the
remember.
minutes
I
because
remember
we were all in
changing the
attendance and
tiers.
it's in the minutes.
excuse me.
I remember changing.
We're gonna just.
We may
one
have
person
updated,
at a
can I
time.
finish?
Up-
Can I finish?
Yes, I'm saying.
Can I finish without
I just
interruption?
said one person at a time.
Okay, so, if we changed anything in those tiers, it may have been percents. You'd have to go back in the minutes and check.
That's what I was talking about, the percentage.
But if you wanna go changing that, it still has nothing to do with football. Because when we reviewed stuff, it was only for basketball and the other facilities related to sports.
Tomatoes.
If you
tomatoes.
want it to be for football,
It's still
you would,
fine.
can I talk without you talking, Misha,
No.
please?
Point of
At
It's
this
order.
incredibly
Excuse me.
rude.
Misha.
At this
Misha,
point-
let
Excuse me.
Misha let her
You're
talk.
always allowed to talk. Every single person on this board is always allowed to talk.
I said one person at a time, and that's Amanda.
Made me lose my chain of thought now. You can go back.
You were on the cheers, honey.
Yeah,
You're
the
on the
tiers.
tiers.
That was not decided by the committee. And I'm not sure if the percent was updated or not. It may have, it may not have been. You'd have to go back 3 years and look at the committee minutes. But it still was not for football. It was for basketball. And it was for baseball and whoever else we were renting to. The board voted to not rent the football field and track. We voted to close it down and see how things went for a year. Instead, we kept being brought back a one-year waiver, year after year after year, because that decision was not followed. It wasn't. So if we want to reopen the football for everybody or for a 1-year waiver or to whoever, I don't care what organization it is, but they need to follow the policies. And if there aren't policies, because we shut it down, then it's our responsibility to create those policies and set those rental fees. Because right now there is nothing. There's nothing. We're just going off of what has always been done. And I don't care what facility organization rents. I really don't. I just want to make sure that we aren't losing money as a district by renting to outside organizations. That's it. Literally it. So you can sit there and laugh and be a smug little whatever, but
We don't
Be
do
careful.
that.
Be careful.
you know what we
Point
don't
of
all
order.
don't get me started on what else we don't do.
We do
careful.
Because you
not
both
need
just said it was
that.
not a conflict of interest, and it is.
No, it is.
Be
Yes, it is.
Point of order.
Yes.
Okay, I'm hearing this one, maybe speaking under his breath, I'm not sure. And I'm trying to listen to Amanda, who has the floor. And saying, be careful, kind of sounds like a threat.
Don't start that. I'm not threatening anybody here.
Okay, all right. If we can't,
Can we just close this, because this is,
yes,
this, please,
yes,
let's just
we're
move on,
gonna
'cause
close
this is
this
crazy.
right.
Say one thing
No,
before we
Lisa, let's
close.
not, because,
No.
let's move on, because this.
We're gonna move
This
on,
other stuff,
because
please, because
This
this
is
is
not
madness.
going
This is
anywhere.
madness.
How about we take a 10-minute break?
We
I think
are
that's a
going
good
to
idea.
do that. Let's take,
7:17.
10 minutes. I'm stopping all this discussion right now.
Are we going back in?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I just want to make sure I get the time right.
Okay.
28.
Next item on the agenda is discuss board scholarship.
For the chair,
Yes,
I think you just want to report out for me, right? There's nothing really to discuss. We've gone through the process. I'm reporting out, even though it says discuss.
yes.
Okay. 6 of the 7 board members responded. Thank you very much to the ones that took the time to do so. 4 of the 6 that responded voted the same way for number 1. So it was an automatic majority winner with number 1. And the person I'm pleased to announce is Nate Hewitt. Hewitt will be receiving the board scholarship. And then, as I mentioned at the last board meeting, Chris and I are going to redo and update the application for next year, and I'm going to be bringing a recommendation to the board about raising the amount of the scholarship we give. Does anybody have any questions?
May I ask what amount you're looking
To
for
raise it
raising
to?
it to?
It's to $50 now, which is equivalent to like one board. I was thinking $100 would be a 1-month board salary, but that's open for discussion and, you know, from the
I
board
was
members.
just curious, Dave.
But that's the fee that pops into my mind, and I think the committee, before the operation manual got tabled, was going to request at least raising it to 100,
And that would make the scholarship worth how much?
700. It would double the scholarship.
We might get a little more interested.
Yeah.
Well, we got 6, but only 3 were complete.
Well, that's true.
Yes. That was a little bit more than it was last year.
Yeah, we did have 6, but 3 did not complete the application.
Right.
So it dropped down to 3. So we had 3, which is still a lot more than last year. So we are on the uptick. Things are improving.
To Chair,
Yes.
can I get a suggestion, like maybe having a counselor or somebody overlook the application before they send it in?
They do.
Oh.
They sign off on it. Like if you see on the back of here, it says signature counselor principal. Everyone was signed off, and the ones that didn't,
Can we have like an instruction page or something?
We're gonna update it, so I'll send me remind me as we go through that updating, but yeah, more buy-in from the counselors and just cleaning it up, making it a little easier, but they do. It is signed off, where they're supposed to make sure everything's there. Three made it through and it wasn't, but.
Can I piggyback off of something Misha said last time we discussed this, that I thought was a really good idea? I don't know the exact words, Misha, so correct me, but you brought up how when it asks for an essay, as soon as kids see the essay, they are immediately like, I don't want to do the essay.
Yeah.
And then, so that part could just become like a long paragraph or something, because we have on there like 200 or 300 word essay. That's literally a paragraph anyway, and none of us are sitting there counting each word to make sure it met that. So I thought that was a good idea that you had, just turn it into a regular
Yeah, just turn it
question.
into-
Yeah, they'll fill it out, and if they want to write more than that, they can attach an extra page. But you're 100% right, people, it's the end of the year, they don't want to write another essay.
But they do sign up to answer your question. It just slipped through the cracks. Anything else? Okay, I'm good, Shirley, unless you have anything else for me.
Next item on the agenda is consider K through 5 English Language Arts Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. At the board meeting on April 13th, 2026, the board heard a proposal for a new K-5 English Language Arts curriculum. Recent legislation in literacy, specifically reading and continuing to uncover the ongoing brain science of reading. The research has a clear criteria for what meets all parts of the simple view of reading. In order to best meet the needs of teaching and learning in elementary reading, a team of classroom teacher leaders have engaged in a curricular review that included state-approved program tools. The curriculum department is recommending a new English language arts curriculum called Amplify Core Knowledge Language Arts, CKLA. Should the program be adopted by the board, it would cost approximately $24,000 in initial and ongoing professional learning for all teachers, coaches, and administrators for the 26-27 school year. For 3 years, 2026, 2027, 2027, 2028, 2028, 2029, the cost of online tools and print materials will be $275,000. The program tool will be purchased from the 35M Committee for Literacy Achievement, CLA, High Quality Literacy Materials Grant, and would replace Success for All, Kinder, Roots, and Wings. Districts are required to have a state-approved literacy tool in place for the 27-28 school year. Madam President and members of the Board of Education, the resolution is attached for board consideration.
Do I have a board member willing to adopt?
Before we do that, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Have the teachers tried this out, this curriculum, to see if it feeds in?
They're trying it out right now.
Okay.
To the chair.
Yes.
I was there last week at Fisher. I watched first, second, and fourth grade start to amplify, and already I had seen much improvement from the Success for All.
Thank you.
Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
Madam President,
Yes.
then we be adopting the following resolution.
Do I have support?
Support.
It's been adopted by Mrs. Early and supported by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? 7 ayes, 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda is closed session for the purpose of strategic and negotiation sessions connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement. Is there a member willing to move the motion to enter into closed session.
To the chair,
Yes.
I move.
Do I have a support?
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Hicks and supported by Mrs. Fletcher. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers? 0. We are entering into closed sessions at
Oh, I was leaving, I'm sorry. 7:36.
Item on the agenda is consider SREA contract.
Thank you, Madam President. The negotiating committees representing the Board of Education as well as the South Redford Education Association, the SREA, have reached a tentative agreement on a new master agreement between the South Redford School District as well as the South Redford Education Association, which would be effective August 20th, 2026 through August 27th, 2028. The master agreement must be formally presented to the membership for a vote and ratified by both parties. The South Redford Education Association ratified the master agreement that was tentatively agreed to on April 23rd, 2026. There is a resolution attached, Madam President and members of the Board of Education, for consideration.
Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
To the chair.
Yes.
I'd like to move the adoption of the following resolution, please.
Do I have support?
Support.
It's been adopted by Mrs. Fletcher and supported by Mrs. Hughes.
Hicks.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? 0 nays, 7 ayes. Resolution adopted.
Closed session.
The next item on the agenda is a closed session to consider security planning to address existing threats or prevent potential threats to the safety of the student and staff. Is there a member willing to make the motion to enter into closed session?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move we move into closed session.
Support.
It's been moved by Mr. Wilson and
My last name
Oh, you
Winston.
want to get changing everybody's name.
Trying to get you in trouble at home. Get that together.
Sorry, I'm trying to get myself together.
Understood. Mr. Winston and Mr. Johnson.
And supported by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers? 0 opposers, 7 ayes. We are entering closed session at
8:13.
8:13.
So good afternoon again, good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. So, thank you. So first, it was brought to my attention that I did not mention, I invited you to the brunch, but I didn't mention where it's gonna be. So it's gonna be tomorrow, at the Nest, between, you can come 1, 2, or 3 o'clock. It ends at 3:30. So let me get that out. Next, they mentioned in regards to the spirit, the Pierce Middle School dance team, and the cheerleading team, and things of that nature. But those are my babies, so I had to mention this. They were champions 3 years in a row. So I just want to get your permission to leave this at Pierce Middle School for the girls. They don't know it yet, but this is what on the wall to go with their trophies that they won over the last 3 years. And this year was a really big year for them because they worked so hard, blood, sweat, and tears, and me. So I got this for them, and I do also have another one for the dance team. This is the cheerleading team, and it's the one for the dance have not came in yet, but they will have them, and this will be left at Pierce Middle School in the hallway of the wall, if that's okay with the school board.
Does it say which years?
Yes, so, let me start. It says, 3 years, let me correct y'all, 3 years in a row, they have won not just first place, but state champions. Me, we there all day, 6 a.m.
Well, I'm just the reason I was asking is because if you're gonna leave it at Pierce for long-term, somebody 6 years down the road might wanna know what years they were.
So maybe above or below, could say 24, 25.
I'm sorry, you said they may wanna know what year.
Year
What
what
years they were champions.
Oh, so it's listed
25,
26? Right, so the trophies has that on there, the trophies do, and when they see the trophy, you will see that.
Oh, cool.
And
Okay.
there's a trophy on the picture, so when they see that, they'll probably get the picture. But I also want to state that we brag about the kids winning the championship, but let's talk a little bit about the coaches. Let's talk a little bit about Coach Sterling and Coach Jay. If it wasn't for them, you know, this wouldn't happen. Those coaches, I mean, I'm telling you, they're phenomenal. I don't know how you know them, but how I know them from every day, all day, at night, I can't go to sleep.
Coach Sterling's an alumni.
Yeah,
She is, ain't she?
I didn't know that.
She is.
Excellent. Her skills for this, excellent. I just had to put that out there.
That's awesome.
And that's it. So I won't hold no more of your time, but I have to brag
Thank
on
you
my
for
kids.
sharing.
So Mickey had that idea, so maybe you can put the years right here.
Yeah, okay, I'll have
Yeah, that
to do
would be
that.
good.
Perfect. Oh, and they also won the state belt. See that? See that? Highest one, the belt. You will find the belt at the Pierce Middle School.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sharon,
Thank you for sharing.
congratulations.
That is awesome.
You're on the cheer team too?
Yeah, she is.
Congratulations.
Roll that. And one last but not least thing. Since I have some principals in the house, I'd like to take advantage of this moment to speak about PTO. Next year, if we can gear a little bit towards more connection with the PTO and maybe even combining them in some sort of way. I did do a PTO meeting for all of the schools, and we had low participation. So to you principals, if you can kind of speak to your PTOs and have them to give an email to me and things of that nature. I'm trying to put our PTO back together to whereas we will be non-defeated PTO as well. It can be done. We just need the participation. It's power in numbers, so we just need that. Thank you so much. Okay, you sure can. And that will conclude. Thank you for your time and allowing me. I was trying to keep up for 2 minutes, but let me, I thank you for allowing me this little bit of time to share with you.
It's actually 3 minutes, but.
Take pictures, Kathy. We want to
I
see
will.
pictures of you surprising them.
You know it?
Kathy?
Thank
Yours?
you.
No,
Okay.
thank you. I'm going home now.
Remember, call me if you need anything, okay?
Okay. I
Easily
will.
accessible.
Yes,
If you need anything, I'm there for you.
thank you so much. Good night.
Back to you, Madam President.
Okay, is there, the next item on the agenda is closed session for the purpose of strategic. To consider security planning to address existing threats or prevent potential threats to the safety of the students and staff. So,
I move we go back into closed session.
Second.
okay, it's been moved by Mr. Winston and
Mr. Johnson.
supported by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? We are entering closed session at 8:24.